You saw Gravity. How much of it's fiction?
Well, actually, first of all, let me say I was very impressed with the film, and I'd recommend it to anyone to go see it. It's very entertaining. It's realistic in that they get enough details right that they set up the nice framework of what it really looks like to be in space. Now, having said that, there are a number of course, technical inaccuracies and violations of the laws of physics, but it's a movie, and I really enjoyed it.
How do we justify further expense on space and science in Washington? What do you say when you speak to a congressman or woman who says, I don't want to fund that?
Well, the actual fact is that the part of the NASA budget is less than 1%, and historically has been less than 1% of the U.S. budget, except during the Apollo era. So, you know, you're getting all the things that NASA does at very, very low prices, and you're creating a lot of jobs. You've got technical spin-offs. But I think the most important reason that you fund a human spaceflight program is that it inspires the next generation of people, of young people. I myself was inspired by the Apollo program. That's what made me interested to go study engineering and go to school and actually eventually become an astronaut myself.
Leroy, space travel has now become the domain of billionaires. It costs millions of dollars if you want to be a space tourist. Is this a good thing for our country?
Well, I think it's the first step. You know, I think it's interesting because what happens is NASA developed and the government developed the technology and the infrastructure. Now you're seeing some commercial aspect coming into it. Yeah, there have been about 7 people, I think, that have paid a pretty good sum of money to get up into space, and you know, I think that's the first step of commercialization. As with anything like this, even with the airplane, you know, the first airplanes were expensive, they were dangerous, and then eventually the commercial side caught up, and we've got modern air travel. And I'm not saying that space is necessarily going to go that same path, but it's kind of a rough analogy. I think it's time to start looking at more commercial things in space.